Welcome back to some more Create Integrated. Now, last episode where I left off, we automated villagers, but I did encounter a few minor problems. For example, sending on to trading depots. Man, there was a big hassle here, and I ended up being limited to andesite funnels only. But you know what? Today I want to solve that problem. I also want to add more villagers, and I want to get these stalls built. Now, first thing on the agenda, I want to see if transfer labels will actually work. I do have transfer labels in the pack, and transfer labels are pretty darn cool if you haven't seen them. They're basically like the flat transfer nodes that you may remember from Extra Utilities 2, like all those years ago. Now, to be able to get them, we need to lay down a piston, and then in front of the piston, I want to throw down my mechanical mechanisms. So we'll toss our andesite mechanisms, we'll toss those down, give it a good push and pull, and it is going to convert these into item extract transfer labels. So now, how exactly is this going to work? Well, we should be able to place all of them onto this this side of the depot, not in them, but on the side of them like this. And then we can, if we have one in our hand, we can click into this and we can start putting in more. So you can see right here, this is like the amount. And let's just say we want exactly 26. Because I would assume that that's how many items at a time it's going to allow it to transfer. And so we have that, and then there's the speed. We really don't, I'm not really worried about the speed as much as I am the amount. And so let's break this. Now that we have that, I'm going to place this barrel right next to it, getting rid of this. And then now let's see, if I put this in here, will that move the 26 over? Ooh, it doesn't seem like it. I wonder if it's because there is a innate filter here that possibly needs to happen, or these just won't work. So let's set this to whitelist mode. And then everything else should be fine. This is set though to extract, not insert. Ah, okay. So let's change these to item transfer labels that are insert. And so hopefully they'll automatically pull from the barrel if they're in insert mode. Let's take those out. I'm putting them all into the wrong space. So 26 of them. Shift right click on the side, right click, put the rest in to that slot. That should hopefully pull exactly 26. Put the barrel, send a stack in, and notice it did send the amounts. Interesting. And this is keeping a full amount in stock. But we won't be able to fully know until this actually starts taking again, which has been another problem with this mod. Because of it working at certain times of the day, it makes it really hard to test this thing. But you know what? With this having like a stack transfer limit, I mean, we can pop into here and instead of 26, which it's not like regulating that specific amount of items, I don't think. And I don't even think there is a way to regulate here. I could probably just set this all the way to like 32 technically. And that should be more than fine. Let's just actually see how this functions. I really want to see. I've never played, or I've not really played with this mod too much. So if we put 32 in here, will it transfer all 32? Okay, now it isn't transferring at all, which is interesting. It's because I set it to whitelist mode. That was my fault. Okay, place it here. I do like that it has filtering. We'll try exactly 32. It pulls exactly 32. What if I give it 48? Okay, so it pulled 32, left the 16. So that is how it works. Interesting. It will pull exact stack sizes based on it being on there and then the amount that is inside of it. Oh, I really like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I need to wait for the certain time of day, which is almost time to sleep, and then we'll be able to see this start up again. I just want to make sure that when these go in here, it can fill more. So like if I have 32 on the depot, it does look like it will continue to fill this without any issue, unlike I was having with the funnels. But see, right there does seem like there's an issue. There's 56 in here and there's 64 in here, but it's still not filling this all the way up to that level. Here's the thing though. This should work so long as there is at least 26 in here. And so even if it does fill up that many, 32, then 64, and then we take out a couple, I mean, it should still function. And this will be significantly faster on the whole trading system, and it'll also make our frog ports work less often, which is going to be nicer. By the way, by clicking on a clock, we can actually see what time of day it is, and I bet these guys will start working at exactly 8 o'clock. Yes, exactly 8 o'clock on the dot. They start working. Okay, so it went down to 20. This feeds right back up. There's 36. It fed back up to 60. You know what? This is definitely going to work. It looks like it has no problem keeping over 26 in stock, which is what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of these reconnected and reconfigured. So yeah, this is definitely working out because all of these have already now generated 64 emeralds and ready to go and ready to get villagers added on here. Okay, so what villagers am I going to put on here? That is another question, and I've already kind of figured that out. So I want to go ahead and set up villagers that trade for ender pearls, trade for echo shards, and white wool, and also glowstone, believe it or not. Now, the echo shard one, I'm kind of iffy on because I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. It doesn't even show up in the trading floor list, which has me wondering if it is even supported. I mean, we do have an echo trade in here for 6 emeralds. It does produce 1 echo shard, which would be really nice to be able to automate, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do this because, like I said, most of these things do show up in the actual, trading floor list. This one does not. So you know what? I can already predict that it's probably not going to work, but we can take our villager cleric out and we can give it a shot at least. We can maybe see if it will trade. All we've got to do is get a villager on here with a brewing stand. All right, let's redo our cleric. We'll place our cleric right here, place the echo shard into the output filter, and then just fingers crossed it works. If not, though, I'm going to go ahead and get our other cleric set up. I think one of the best ways to do this is by placing the cleric in here, actually doing the emerald trades, just getting it leveled up as much as we can. It's so beautiful. I have 2 clerics, one that does trade ender pearls and one that doesn't trade ender pearls. So this one, I think I'm going to set up to trade for glowstone. So I'm going to place the glowstone in there. This is the villager that doesn't actually trade ender pearls. That is now working, and let's hope that it does the trade. There it goes. Glowstone's going in here. I'm so excited for this. And now this one I'm going to set up with ender pearls. And if all is well, ender pearls should start generating. Beautiful. And believe it or not, this actually is trading for echo shards. So even though it didn't show up in the JEI list, it does appear that it is working. And I am so happy to see that because this is huge for our future setups. Now, another villager that I kind of want is going to be a wool villager. And I mean, we are going to have to buy, it looks like, quite a few of the shears to potentially get the trade that I want. Oh boy. But there should be a trade for emeralds for wool. And I think it's a 1-to-1. And perfect. There we go. So after 2 villagers, apparently this is a 50% chance roll to either roll carpet or to roll an actual wool block. And we do have wool blocks, which is nice because no matter what color it is, I can always revert it to regular base white color just by simply throwing it in our washing setup. Yes, I think washing does revert it back to white. I just want to check real quick. We'll throw it back over here. And if I was to wash this wool, will it revert? It looks like it is washing. It is doing its thing, and yes. Okay, it does revert back to white. Perfect. And so this is the only other villager left, and what I'll do is place down the loom, which is its workstation, and then make sure that shepherd goes in. And we need to make sure, is this the shepherd that trades the yellow wool? It is. Perfect. And so that will happen whenever the trading workday starts. Now with all of that in place, it's time for the fun part. Building. For the buildings themselves, I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space, about 2 blocks or so away from the front of this. And then I've got to get this set up in a way where these buildings are going to be connected. So this one will start right about here, about 2 blocks in front of this one. And then over here, we'll give ourselves a block gap and keep this all as consistent as possible. We'll make sure this building also starts right about here, leaving about a block gap. Perfect. Okay, so once we get this initial design done, then we can start experimenting with different block types, for example. But I do want to make sure that this goes pretty high, right? Because I also want to add like a living quarters that are technically above. So just as sort of an idea here, we have the ground level and then the door height. This will be like the highest part of the door. And then if we continue up, it's like 1-2 blocks above the door, give or take. And then right up here, we can split this and then place in another space above this. And I think that will give this a lot of height and a lot of dimension to kind of fit in with the rest of the buildings. And I do plan on changing up the log structure and the log type. But as far as the upper building goes, I kind of keep that same thing in mind. We have like 1 block here, floor level, window, 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 making about 3 tall windows. And then right above that, we are going to have another space above the window. And then we are probably going to want our solid foundation or solid log in that particular place. So all of this, just me kind of keeping all of that in mind. Now, of course, don't forget to utilize building gadgets. It's going to make building so much easier here. Now, as far as this frame goes, this whole thing is definitely getting stripped. I am not keeping this redwood log base texture. I really want this stripped. And also the spruce logs, they all need to be stripped too. Now, as for the door locations, I'm kind of mixing and matching. I want a 2-door here. Over here, we'll do a single door. On this side, I've got a single door space, which leaves me a little bit more room for windows. So I can have like a larger window over here, maybe some flowers in the front. For the spruce area, for example, we can make some of these very special windows that look like this. I can do maybe 2 here in the middle, and then on the side, I'll break this off, and then we can use the window panes. So yeah, something like this. That's very nice, very open feeling. Throw this over here and just got to figure out what to put for the inner wall. Ooh, and I wonder, we do have these copycat slabs here. And I think that the slabs, yes, they can be rotated in a way that go completely sideways. Oh, but they do not connect to the glass window here. So you know what? I wonder how strange it would be to have like the windows like this and then the panes on the inner side. That's not too bad either. And then on this side, we'll have the slabs. And then I kind of want this to match the fact that these are apples that are being produced. And that is a really bright like texture that's happening there. Super bright. I love that though. And this, by the way, is the raw redstone block that you can find in those biomes. Now, next to this bad boy, some weathered iron looks really good against this redwood here. And then over here, I finished it off with an accent of some regular brick and also some girders on the top. There's going to be even more decoration on the front, but I'm trying to get like a base theme for some of these sort of windows here. Speaking of windows, you know what? I think I do like the way that these look, the way I had them originally. So I'm going to leave the accent right here, but on this side, I'm just going to make the whole thing a window. Now, after getting most of the fascias sort of done, I still have the top section to kind of get done. Let's talk about the sides. Now, the sides are kind of interesting because these are storefront fascias. The backs of them are usually brick or whatever else the buildings are kind of made of in those general areas. And I kind of want to match that theme. And so I am going to match the rest of our buildings. And I'm going to simply be placing in and filling the whole thing in with brick for right now. And then we can come back in and decorate this a little bit more later, adding some cracks and distressing parts, all kinds of other fun stuff. Speaking of distressing parts, let's go ahead and add some tuff out to the corners and such. Now, for the upper part of these, I want to use this daub block. I think it's going to look really nice here mixed with the spruce. I added some ladders and some stairways to get up to the top. But yes, this texture is going to be really nice. I want the windows for these buildings to be in this centerpiece right here. And I do want there to be windows, but each one of these buildings, I want it to have its own material that goes in this upper part. And I think it's going to give it a little bit of character. Once I get all of those window parts in, I am starting to now add a little bit of extra detail on the outside. So, and also changing up the window type for a lot of these different buildings, just adding some variety. This city is not the perfect place ever. So there's going to be a mix and match of different materials. So I have the ornate windows. I'm adding this to an outer layer which I think looks really, really nice. And then building out, and whenever this whole thing gets put together, this will give a spot for a seat in the window, but it also gives these like protruding little areas here. And we can come back into the sides, for example, and we can decorate this even more. Like, let's say I want this to have even more detail. There we go. Like, I can just add this to the side, and it makes it look like it's bulging out a little bit more. Now, in this building, I do have a little bit of a surprise, because I do want to use some more supplementaries, and this is something I haven't been able to use, and that's awnings. Awnings are absolutely amazing, and it's going to work perfect for these little shop buildings. So, what I have planned is continuing like the stair set that I have on the bottom to build out the front. And then we can use these awnings. And now there's different colors and different styles that we can create. So like if I want a bright white awning, which I think will be really nice for this particular setup, I can do that. So here's a few awnings. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go ahead and make a few more of these. And then throw this together with the die. So now we have 6, and there's a couple different ways you can use these. If you place them down on a block, they'll go to the top half of the block, or you can click in the middle and you can do the middle half of the block. This is kind of important because there's a couple of different ways that you can put them onto blocks. Now, this one, I want to place on the stairs, and when you place it on the stairs, it can go right to the top. But if you place it on the bottom, it connects right up to the sort of middle point, which I think looks a little bit better. And so by clicking this on the bottom, we can carry the entire thing around. Let's go grab this one. And then if you click them again, you can overhang the awnings. And this just looks really good. Like from a distance, I think that's so nice. Now, another nifty thing about awnings, by the way, is that you can bounce off of them, which I find to be hilarious. Now, overall, I've started to decorate a little bit more of the front. So by adding a little bit of storage, some scaffolding, that looks really, really nice. I added a side door to the building because this was looking really, really flat. Got some decoration up here. Also added some yellow to this little loom, which is essentially producing our wool for us at the moment. We got our Ender building. I went with some black awnings here to kind of give that sort of feeling of the end, and I think like the darkness and all that stuff sort of adds to the ambience of the area. Also some more barrels. Now I still got to do the roofs, so the roof's kind of important, and I am going to be continuing the same design that I've been going with, where we utilize deep slate, but I am going to keep the direction going on the builds. So this is going to be peaked, and we're going to peak this all the way up to the top, but these are not like perfect 3x3 buildings, so I'll have to account for all of that. But with the sort of theme that I have going, I mean, I do find that the deep slate here looks so good for a roof material. But now with this building, and most of these buildings being exactly the same size, minus those two over there, we could reuse this roof. It's actually kind of easy to do. All we need is the copy paste gadget from Just Dire Things. Beautiful. And I need some emeralds. I wonder where I could get some of those. Just don't mind me stealing a few of your emeralds. But yes, the copy paste gadget. It's going to take a moment to charge up. But the idea behind this is that we can select a corner and define an area. So I'm going to select my first starting corner. It's going to be this corner right here. So this will be my position 1. And then over here, I can make this my position 2 by shift right clicking. So this does select an area, and then I'm going to pop over here so I can get a better view of this. We're going to hit G to open this menu up, and I'm going to go into my settings, and this is where I can start to customize things. Now, at the moment, the background is all blurry, but you can actually change that inside of your options accessibility, and there should be inside of here background blur, and we'll bring that all the way down, and it'll give us a little bit better of a view. So now we can actually see this fully. So this allows us to change our Y value and make sure this whole thing is completely selected. Just like so. I believe that is fully selected. Hit confirm. And then we just want to walk over here and just make sure. Is everything completed? Yes. Okay. So once everything is done and you've hit confirm, it's going to copy. And it says it is exactly 750 blocks in order to paste this in. So now that I have this, let's go into paste mode. And this is where I can actually see this. And so I can rotate this whole thing. And I want to paste it onto this roof right here. So Let's rotate it around. And then once I've found my position, I can hit G and then anchor this point. So now that it is anchored in, I can take a better look at this, and then we can actually adjust this a little bit, and we can determine where exactly do we want this and how do we want it. So it gives us a nice little outline here. That looks correct. Take a look here. That looks correct. Is this the right height? I think it is, and I think this is exactly where we need it. And now the only thing I need to do is make sure I have the blocks on my inventory, and then right click. And the entire thing then gets copied and pasted in. Ah, it's beautiful. And then the same thing on this side, which should merge the entire thing together. Oh, that's so nice to be able to do. Of course, another one over here. Ah, it's just the fill in, everything. Ah, looks so good. And then last but not least, the merging of the two buildings. Like that. Now for the final touch, I just want to go ahead and place in a bunch of the logs of the type of building that we built it out of. And then I'll just strip all of these so it matches the rest of the building. I think that is going to look just fine. Like that. Let's see. There we go. Yep, that's going to look just fine. Now, with most of the buildings basically done on the outside, there's still a lot that needs to be done on the insides, of course. But I do want to finally move the chains around because it does look kind of weird, chains just going right through the buildings. So before I modify any of the chains, some things that I probably want to do, make sure these are set to inactive so that way they stop requesting, definitely. Now I've just got to go around and remove all of these. Now I have a plan for this. So I do want a chain to start into the back. And so I'm going to have that connected up into this one. But all of these where the chains currently reside, they're going to have to go. Like, this is just not how it's going to work. So I'm going to remove all of these, come back down, and I want this to sort of be in the back and where the frog port is currently at. This is where I want to designate sort of like a hole in the wall. So we are going to have a hole that is going to be broken into the wall, and this is where the frog port is going to be aiming. And then we can just sort of design a structure that kind of looks like it's big enough for the frog to stick his tongue through and grab a package. I think this is going to be neat. I'm going to link this here, and then this whole chain network will just have packages sort of flying all over the place. But yes, the hole in the wall for the frogs, that's where it's going to shine here. Now, after getting this settled, I'm going to copy the name of the frog port, break it, and then this is where I'm going to relink it. So I'm just going to look up. Try not to do that. I'm going to look up and point. If I can just stand on here, that'll make it a little easier. I'm just going to click this point right here without clicking the thing. Can you not? Oh, perfect. All right. So yes, click right here and that should aim perfectly. And then we just paste in the name, put the name back. And yeah, it should pull right through that hole. Man, I am really happy with the way this has turned out so far. So I only have one more thing left to do, and that is to set this back up to start doing the requests. The goal is that this all works and sends the exact amount needed, and that the frog will then pull the package through the hole. Pull the package through the... You know what? I completely forgot. This is not going to work because this frog has to change. Okay, so this frog is going to need to be linked to the chain like over here, and then it will start sending. Okay, beautiful. And so yes, the frog is now pulling packages through the hole, which is exactly what I was hoping for. So now I hope this inspired you. I still have a lot more to do. There's a lot more interior work that'd be really nice to have done. I do want to put bedrooms in each one of these areas and potentially have more villagers that just happen to be up here, potentially for some other smaller trades. And yeah, that is going to be really nice. Now this on the other hand, I want to turn this into a delivery truck, but not today. We're going to work on this another time because I'm also going to need to increase this, because I've already experienced that this flint generator is not even enough to keep up with the amount of flint that gets used when these guys are constantly running, as I did figure out when I was building all of this. Now, if you have any build ideas, I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. Definitely some suggestions as to what I can do. I would like to potentially like bridge maybe some of these areas together. There's a lot of things that I really want to do. And like I said, this is just the start of this area. This is more like the living district for all of our villagers. And I think it turned out pretty good. Like I said, let me know down in the comments below. Guys, I appreciate you so very much. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video or if you learned something new. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Now, without further ado, it's time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks, well, that's going to go out to Wiley. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over on the Discord, by becoming a Discord premium member, and just supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. Thank you so very much. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.